I think I set it up right, but
Looks to be good.
oh, excellent. Okay, okay. Good evening, everyone. I am logging in from Singapore, and this is pretty much my first stream. So, not really used to doing this. I have been doing more video chats and more video meetings. Um, uh, okay, one second. I've been asked to turn up my mic. Is that better? Is that better? I would not know. Okay. So yeah, I've been doing more stuff online this past week than I think I have my entire life. I've been doing more video chats, um, more meetings, more calls. There's a lot of connectivity, and I feel I must like I think Echo's talk was really good, but I feel I have the entirely different experience. I don't know if anybody else is feeling this, but it feels like I'm busier and more productive, working harder than I have ever done. I wake up in the morning and I'm at my desk at about 8:45, and what I'm seeing is that I'm probably not disconnecting from the computer pretty much the whole day, um, just barely getting up a few minutes at a time to get something to eat or something, and it seems to be more busy um, than it is usually. So this has been a very strange experience for me. Playware, and I'll be sharing with you in a bit. It's this company that I've been building for 15 years. We've been doing work in healthcare, in government sector, in a lot of things, and but it's all been very physical. There's always been a studio. There's always been physical face-to-face meetings. There has to be a lot of going to the customer location, client location. I'll be showing you some of that. And so for, for us to experience remote working was very difficult. So fortunately, we started doing it about a week before the circuit breaker hit. Uh, but just that experience I wanted to share. So for us, it has meant a great amount of changes. And just like in the typical Singaporean style, I've tried to make the 4 hours or, the 5 hours of remote working. So I'm going to start with that. But before I do that, I just wanted to kind of give you a sense of what life is like at Playware, right? So we work in healthcare, we work in corporate sector, we work with various government bodies. So I'm going to go show you some pictures just to kind of make you see what every day seems like for me, right? So when I talk about healthcare and I'm talking about game development, I'm actually talking about really physically going into hospitals and getting into places where game developers have no business being. So this is me in the center. There is Alex on my left and Sean on my right. Alex, my 3D modeler, and Sean's a level designer, learning designer with me. And here we are scrubbing up to get into an operation theater. This is us in scrubs in an actual operation theater, playing through an exercise, a simulated role play exercise designed to teach nurses and doctors how to communicate better during exams. One of the things that we're trying to make into a medical simulation. And so we go in and we experience all of these things ourselves. It's quite exciting. I tell you, as a learning designer, as a game designer, I've always been very interested in systems. And the more complex a system is, the more I feel that it has meats and bones. It sounds crazy coming out from me because I'm a vegetarian, so that's a bit of an inside joke. But it has more meat and bones for me to explore, right? So this was the second day of the circuit breaker. Okay, so the second day of the circuit breaker, we are doing a game on oncology. And I was, we do this work with Singapore General Hospital, and we are trying to do organ dissection. And because it's oncology, the specimens that we dissect and we 3D model have to be from people, right? So these are real organs from real people that we have to go and capture that. We've got to capture big videos. We've got to take pictures. We've got to see the dissection happen, okay? And so the circuit breaker was happening, and I'm supposed to be locked at home. You certainly don't want to go to a hospital. And we get this call that they've just received a prostate and a colon from 2 different patients, both with signs of cancer. And so they are going to be dissecting those, and we had to go in and film. This was scary, right? This is like, for me, this was like, me and my, Alex, who's my 3D modeler, we were both like, shit, does that mean, we're going to the hospital, to like the path lab during a pandemic, we got to make it out alive or not. And then we had to watch the dissection. I'm sorry if this is disturbing, but the games that we make are 3D games. They look like any other 3D games, right? So they look like what you would be used to seeing. There are characters, there are 3D spaces, they move around, they do things. Of course, our characters also have medical conditions that need to be treated by actual medical professionals. So, and I'll just tell you, I was on a call yesterday with Sengkang General Hospital with a group of nurses for whom we are designing these training exercises. And the head nurse who I was talking to, I was trying to have a conversation with her, and she kept seeming distracted, and she would go offline. So this was a video call, and I was like, hey, listen, if you guys are busy, I'm sorry, I'll come back, right? And I'll talk to you guys later. And that's when she told me, I'm sorry if this seems, if I seem a little distracted. We are in the basement of the Sengkang General Hospital, and we are preparing the basement to accept COVID-19 patients because they're going to start streaming in, and we have no more capacity left upstairs. And I was like, oh my God, don't worry, I'm standing. I'll be very patient. Take as much time as you want. I'll be on this call all evening if that's how much time you're going to take, because your time is more important than mine. So I'll just wait. So that was a learning experience for me. Right? I'm like, when you work in healthcare, when you're trying to do simulation games for healthcare providers, you're really backing up people who are very much in the front lines. So that was a bit dark and maybe a bit grisly. Let me go to something slightly more interesting and perhaps more geeky. We also do stuff in training for, we do training for like airlines and other things. This is me standing next to a wind tunnel. If you've been to Temasek Polytechnic, you've probably seen this. They have aircrafts where, we talk to people who are trying to do repairs for, aircrafts and things like that. But that's not the interesting bit. I get, because of my work in serious games, I get to go to places that a lot of people don't get to go to. So now this is, I'm trying to kind of hide places, but I was inside the belly of an actual cargo plane, looking at the cargo space, enjoying. I actually got to ride down that conveyor belt. This is where the cargo goes out of the plane from. And so there is a lot of fun to be had in what I do. And I was happily taking away these pictures. And when somebody comes up to me and not in a hurry, not like oh my God, you're going to blow up, but says, this aircraft fuel over there. I don't think you should be taking pictures here. And I was like, dude, you should have told me that more seriously, right? Okay, so yeah, that's there's a very interesting take because a lot of what we do has us going into locations and places, and now that we are in COVID-19 situation, what we're having to do is find very innovative ways in which to continue doing our work because we still are trying to make games and simulations about processes and practices and methods and technologies that we have no idea about. There's apparatus involved that we've never seen in our life. People are trying to do and solve problems that we can't even imagine. And here we are now, completely disconnected from the reality that we were able to experience, and having to do this now through this, disembodied video medium, and it's something that I'm still trying to figure out. How are we going to, if the circuit breaker is extended, if this carries on, how do you make games about things that you've never seen or experienced, that you can't find references for easily online if you wanted to, and pretty much every organization that you work with does slightly differently with different apparatus from every other organization that does that in the world. So that's been kind of quite a revelation now. This next piece, I really wanted to show you photographs. I really wanted to show you photographs, but we do a lot of work for the Ministry of Home Affairs in Singapore. So we work with people like the police, we work with the Central Narcotics Bureau, we work with Changi Airport Police, Changi Prisons, we work with the checkpoints, and yeah, I can't show you. I have to sign an Official Secrets Act, and everybody does a G50 clearance, and basically the government owes me, right? So owns me. And if I showed you anything from my work there, any of the pictures that we get, reference pictures that we get, I'd get shot. So I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to talk to you about something very interesting. So when the circuit breakers was announced, Playware actually continued working from our location at Robinson Road because all our people were still going into the various government departments. Owns me, not owes me. The government owns me. Yeah. So Ministry of Manpower showed up at our office and they were like, oh, you've got to stop working. You are not an essential service. And we were like, no, we are doing stuff for MHA. So they're like, okay, why don't you call somebody? And so I picked up the phone and I called up the senior people I knew at MHA, and I was like, they're asking us to stop work. Can we stop work? And they're like, no, you can't stop work. I said, oh, cool. So are we an essential service? Can we keep coming to our office and keep doing this work? Then they're like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, okay. So can I get permission to take this work that I'm doing and put it online so that my people can collaborate remotely and do this work online? And they're like, no, you cannot do that either. And so I was like, oh, shit. Does that mean that my projects are all suspended for this month and I don't have to do any deliveries and you're not going to pay me and all of that stuff? And they were like, no. All the deliveries still need to be made. The work still needs to happen. And I'm like, what? Anyhow, we did something about it. I can't tell you what it was because then I'll have to shoot everybody. I don't know how to do that. I don't have any gun. But what I can show you is some stuff, some 3D stuff from some of the things that we do for some of our government projects. This is not very exciting because the more exciting stuff is all secret. So yeah, COVID-19 has been overwhelming. But initially, it was initially something that I was doing very often. I was just like everybody else, spending a lot of time. I had worldofmeter.info on, and I would see the live, numbers going up and down, and going up mostly with the coronavirus numbers. I had the COVID.bing thing open, and I would actually see all the newspaper articles and everything that were getting released. And I realized that that's actually not helping. That's not useful. And so just basically I started writing stuff for myself. I was like, okay, this is not going to go away. And actually trying to find and share everything I can about COVID-19 is just me living in fear of the virus, right? If I'm already constantly looking at, if my friends have it, if my family has it, I've got aged parents, and if my mom and dad are still okay, I'm just feeling like a victim. I'm just kind of feeding that fear, and it's being, it's just kind of destroying me, right? Rather than that, what if we all start thinking about, okay, this is not helping, right? What can we start doing, right? This is the new normal. We have to start finding solutions, because everybody that I know is trying their best, right? People are trying to find things to do with their time. People are trying to support each other online. People are trying to push back against xenophobia and fear, and that we are trying to manifest. I know a lot of people, like I said, in healthcare and the government sector, who are really trying to make a difference in people's lives. We're actually out there saving lives and helping find the cures. So, what we are doing from home also matters. So what we have to start thinking about is we have to start visualizing what the future is going to be, right? And I'm going to have to kind of start thinking about, okay, I'm actually grateful. I'm actually thankful for the fact that I can contribute something, right? I'm a game developer, and I'm a serious games developer, so I'm doing learning apps, right? I am actually contributing towards the fight, right? If I'm training nurses, if I'm training doctors, whatever it is, if it's a marginal improvement, if it's a little bit of a difference that I can make, it's a positive thing. So everybody in Playware was like, okay, we've got to start putting the pedal to the metal, right? We're going to start actually having to work harder. And what we've seen is like this, almost like a phoenix or whatever I can say, like suddenly everyone at Playware has come back on and like growling. And I'm like, I can see the energy, because every day everybody starts work, and there is content getting developed, there is scripts being made, there is levels getting designed, there's 3D content being made. And we know we are working through not very cool times, right? We're working with very little resources. The artists have to build stuff from weird pictures or handheld photographs that people have taken. We don't have proper references. We don't have proper diagrams. And we have to do a lot of revisions because we put up stuff and then our customers are like, this isn't really right, and we've got to fix it. And then they, and then they tell us again, it's not really fixed, and we have to do it. And there's like a lot of iteration that's happening. And we're not complaining because the people we are doing this for are actually in the front line. So we are contributing to that fact, right? So even if we make their lives a little bit easier, and if we keep doing this. So the first R for our fight is resolve, right? I believe that resolve is this, and for us, it's coming from project management, right? Our project managers have taken this view that it doesn't matter that the world is burning down, right? I've got like Susie, Nachi, Amos, I don't know if they're on the stream or not, my project managers. at Playware, they're amazing. Like they're like, it doesn't matter that the world's coming to an end. It doesn't matter that everybody you know is going to possibly die in this pandemic. What matters is that your milestone is due. And you know what that does, strangely, is that keeps us going. That actually, you know, when you can't do anything, doing what you can do is um, is may not be useful, but it is definitely comforting, right? And so we are online all the time. We have many collaboration tools that we've set up, and we use them all. And what we're seeing is that people are being much more productive. In fact, we've managed to put out more content in this past week than we normally do. So for us, it's a strange thing. You know, maybe this is the new normal. Maybe this is how it should be. Like, you know, other than the fact that we'd still have to go to our customer locations to um, to go and get the references, perhaps maybe we would become a more work from home kind of studio. The second thing is this idea of resilience, right? As a team, we have decided that we're going to take this tough time and we are going to try and you know, hold this ship together. That means that money is important, and that means that everybody has to stop, like literally everybody has to stop thinking like artists or engineers or anything like that, and they have to start thinking about productivity, is to start thinking about how we do this. And that has meant that we've actually kind of refined and honed our work audit tools, and everybody is kind of a whole lot more careful, a whole lot more particular about making sure that they do their reporting, that they check in the files, that they fill in the timesheets, that we meet the milestones that we have. We make sure that the invoices go out in time, that the testing happens. We make sure that everybody is not just doing the work, but facilitating other people to be able to look at that work and say, yes, you've done work, right? And yes, you've accomplished, you've done your bit. And people are kind of proud of that. And that's been kind of really new. The next thing kind of we've kind of thought about is this idea that this is the time, right? This is the time, and all this craziness, all this extra work that's happening, this is the time we're kind of continue to decide that we're going to keep upgrading our technology. So we've got like several different aspects, like, you know, people, because we've got programmers who have literally nothing else to do. Like literally, they don't want to do anything else. They're like reporting in and they're saying, okay, I want more stuff. I want, and I do realize, and I'm not blind to it, right? I do realize that some part of it is everybody wanting to make sure that they are contributing to that fight, right? So it's like a personal responsibility thing. Everybody's coming in and kind of like, you know, we are refining our technology, we are refining our tools, we are refining our processes and our art all the time. We're really focused on returns. I've actually been speaking to more customers, looking at more opportunities. I think pretty much every day, about 2.5 hours a day goes in chasing leads, right? Despite the fact that we have a lot of work, what we're trying to do is generate more of a pipeline, right? Again, there's this, like, you know, everybody feels this idea that recession is going to come at some point or the other. And even though we are pretty insulated because we are in government and healthcare, at some point in time, it's going to hit us, and it's going to hit us bad. And so, yes, we can see 6 months of revenue now, but what happens after that? What happens after a year, right? What happens next year? And so we've been having conversations with potential customers, with potential partners, with leads that we wouldn't have probably necessarily entertained. And I'm not necessarily saying because I'm not talking about the people who are probably wasting time, but I'm talking about the fact that there are some things that we know take time to build. There are some government opportunities, healthcare opportunities that take time to mature, and we've been giving it that time, right? So we've made a proper discipline around chasing new business, right? So it's not only enough for Playware to survive at the end of this. It's important for Playware to grow, right? That's how we are looking at it. And of course, the last R for me is reimagine, because I think I think that, like Eku mentioned earlier, I do feel that the world's probably not going to go back to what it was. I do believe that we are living in a world that's forever changed. We are living in a pivotal moment in history, and there's going to be a lot of changes. And so we have to, it's our duty, we have to start thinking about what that new world is going to look like, right? Actually, the worst thing I can think of, a lot of people says, when will things go back to normal? A lot of people say that. I've heard a lot of people say that. And I'm like, if things go back to normal now, everything is in vain, right? It should never go back to normal. We should never go back to that time. I'm like, I was reading that meme. I love that meme. That was so aptly described, right? Half the people in the world have just found out that what they do can be done from home. They don't need to go to the office. And the other half, right? The other half should be paid more than they are being paid today, because they keep the world moving, right? I believe if we haven't learned that lesson, if we haven't kind of started thinking about how the world's going to be changed, I hope it changes, right? I think we would have kind of lost. And so for us, it's really important to know what's our role in that future. And yeah, we're trying to make remote working work. Thank you, people. Thank you for listening to me. And I'm happy to answer questions in Discord and in this Twitch chat. Thank you. Thank you so much.